Prince Harry is nauseous of Kate and William's bougie lifestyle. Who change of heart? Hello, friends! Welcome to breaking royal news about the notorious hypocritical couple Harry and Meghan Markle on our Kate Middleton and the Queen News version 2 channel. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for a jaw-dropping revelation about the once unbreakable trio of Prince Harry, Prince William, and the future Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton. Oh, how the times have changed. They were once hailed as the royal family's three musketeers, capturing hearts and captivating a new generation of devoted followers. But let me tell you, my dear readers, things have taken an unexpected turn. According to the renowned royal biographer Tina Brown, who graced us with her book The Palace Papers in 2022, it seems that Prince Harry had a change of heart. The young prince came to realize that he no longer wanted to be caught up in what he termed the bougie lifestyle, constantly playing third fiddle to the Middleton family affairs. Now, initially, it all seemed to be going swimmingly, but beneath the surface, there were cracks in the royal foundation. As Tina Brown's account exposes, Harry found himself relegated to the role of a third wheel during the early years of William and Catherine's marriage. But let's be honest, it was all mere theater. Behind closed doors, Harry's misadventures led him into questionable situations, with drunken brawls and encounters with prostitutes, no less. The institution of the British royal family needs to wake up and realize that treating the spare like they don't need an education only sets them up for trouble in their adult years. And let's not forget about Prince Andrew, who has been nothing short of a sleaze, willing to hang out with anyone for a quick buck. The scandals surrounding him have surely tarnished the family's reputation. But that's not all. Harry, too, has his own struggles. Outed as a paranoid and mentally ill individual with aggression issues, he seems to have lost touch with reality and his place in the world. According to the ever-observant Tina Brown, even though these two princes worked side by side and lived just next to each other at Kensington Palace, their bond remained strong. But let me tell you, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Harry confided in Brown, expressing his sentiments about the world seemingly against them, creating a tight us-against-the-world friendship with William. Yet, despite their closeness, Harry was often perplexed by their affluent family and couldn't quite fathom William's fascination with his in-laws. And get this, folks, Bucklebury, the Middletons' hometown, bored Harry to tears. It seems the country life just wasn't his cup of tea. Brown revealed that Harry and William, who stepped in for Kate, had their fair share of disagreements. William and Kate had this tight-knit unit, and William himself, oh my, he transformed into quite the Windsor country bumpkin. In his book Spare, released earlier this year, Harry spilled more beans. He admitted that Kate was like the sister he had always longed for but never had. As they grew older, though, their relationship had its challenges. William, at times, was both a loving brother and an arch-enemy to Harry. Can you believe it? And brace yourselves for this one. Harry revealed a day when William allegedly made less than flattering remarks about Meghan Markle. Ouch, not a good look for anyone. And if that wasn't enough, there was even a physical altercation between the two brothers. Royal drama at its finest. In my opinion, Harry couldn't help but envy the stability of William and Kate's relationship, not to mention the money and property that came along with it. He seemed to have this notion that the UK was uncool after being the party prince for 2 decades all across the globe. But let's not forget, he was also bound to serious public service responsibilities as his ultimate duty. It's like he was struck with Peter Pan syndrome from an early age, and that envy sticks for keeping up with the Joneses didn't help matters either. You see, Meghan had quite the talent for manipulating Harry's emotions, igniting that envious competitive streak within him. It's quite telling how he started complaining about the spotlight being stolen from him by the Wales kids when he got involved with Meghan. She knew exactly which buttons to push to get under his skin. I dare say Meghan emphasized that Harry deserved more, despite his position further down the line of succession, always longing to be the heir instead of a non-spare. Oh, and let's not forget the race card she played, insisting they weren't getting enough because she was half black, when in reality, it had nothing to do with race, but was all about tradition and protocol. Their grand plan of moving to America, securing a semi-working royal position, just doing the so-called fun public service stuff, traveling on the taxpayers' and British royal family's dime, being adored and relatable to people outside the UK, and having their own family was nothing more than a way to stick two fingers up at William and Kate. Ha ha! We have what you have, but with less responsibility and more freedom while living the high life in sunny LA. But let's face it, their wish list hasn't exactly panned out as they had hoped. Making money? Not happening. A semi-working role? Nope, that's a bust too. Strong popularity numbers? Nada. And those British royal family and taxpayer-funded freebies? Forget about it. They might be living in the lap of luxury in your mind, but the reality is far from it. They've settled down in a natural disaster-prone area near a bird sanctuary, and their posh property owned by some Russian oligarch is rapidly depreciating. Quite the glamorous lifestyle, huh? And here's the kicker, folks. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is envious of their predicament. Not William and Catherine, not Charles and Camilla, not even any A/B/C lister, and certainly not any public servant. Let's be honest. They've turned into fired, grifting, mooching eyesores that even their own neighborhood and industry insiders can't stand. Across the pond, it's considered somewhat of an insult, suggesting someone is snobby or obsessed with fancy, ostentatious things. And that description just doesn't quite fit the Middletons, does it? After all, the word bougie originates from bourgeoisie, which simply means middle class. Now there's a commenter who's expressing their confusion about Tina Brown's stance. They thought she was pro-Prince and Princess of Wales, so why would she seemingly insult them as if they were social climbing wannabes? But perhaps Tina is referring to their middle-class background, portraying them as a more relatable, down-to-earth, and loving family compared to the aristocratic families. And this could be why Harry felt a bit left out in the grand scheme of things. But hold on, there's more to it. This commenter takes things a step further, delving into the original meaning of bourgeoisie, as described by none other than Karl Marx. According to Marx, the bourgeoisie represents those obscenely wealthy business owners from the upper middle class who exploit workers to fill their own pockets and indulge in tacky excess. It's not meant to be a compliment, yet the current bourgeoisie seems to have misunderstood the term, thinking it's something positive. Oh, the irony. According to another perspective, the bourgeoisie finds its place sandwiched between the proletariat and the aristocratic landowners. Comfortably residing in the middle-class domain, they encompass a variety of professions like merchants, landlords, business owners, lawyers, and stockbrokers. Now, in the USA, you can imagine them as the esteemed members of the Rotary Club, pillars of the community, living in split-level ranch houses and flaunting two recently modeled cars. Quite the American dream, I must say. In Britain, it's a bit different. The upper-class landowners carry impressive titles and vast acres of land, while in the U.S., it's the millions of dollars and private security that mark the elite class. The bourgeoisie, though, primarily refers to the middle class, distinguishing them from the wealthy landowners of the aristocracy and gentry. From the perspective of both the aristocracy and the working classes, the middle class is often perceived as materialistic and conventional. But hold on, it's not as straightforward as you might think. Insiders reveal that in the U.S., the definition of middle class can be quite fluid. Some folks believe they're middle class as long as they don't consider themselves poor or rich. There's even a case of siblings growing up in the same household, yet one claims they were middle class, while the other insists they were poor. It's all about personal perceptions, my friends. Furthermore, some individuals who others might see as rich identify themselves as upper middle class. It's a matter of perspective, really. And let me share a bit about myself, too, as I usually identify as upper middle class. However, $1 million house is beyond my reach, and my international trips are quite infrequent because, well, I'm not quite ready to rough it, and my wallet isn't ready to handle extravagant accommodations. I settle for what I consider moderate, like a Hampton Inn if you're in the U.S. But let's not forget, what I consider moderate might be seen as almost luxury by some and very bare bones by others. My dear readers, Defining class in the U.S. is a subjective affair, and I must say, not always consistent. Now, words like bougie may not be directly connected to one's economic class, how much money they make, but rather, they delve into the realm of lifestyle. Both in the US and the UK, this term serves as a snobby put-down, targeting those with middle-class tastes and attitudes. However, there's a twist in the US context. You see, in the US, when we use the term bougie, we often think of people with showy but rather dull tastes, and sometimes we might even apply it to individuals who belong to the wealthy classes. It's particularly the case with those who have relatively new money. It's that whole new money syndrome, you know? And this is precisely why, my friends, the term bougie can indeed be used to refer to wealthy people, especially when we Americans mistakenly mix up upper income brackets with upper classes. We sometimes get carried away and think bougie refers to the rich. Quite the conundrum, isn't it? Now let's take a stroll down the historical path of another word, snob. Over here in the U.S., it's long been associated with upper-class folks looking down their noses at the lower-class individuals. And sometimes this notion extends to anyone who feels superior about anything, really. But you might find it interesting that snob had a rather derogatory origin, originally aimed at those recently rich folks who tried to push themselves into a higher social position. It used to carry connotations of bad breeding as well as arrogance about their newfound wealth. How intriguing! And if we ponder for a moment, my thoughts wander back to Meghan. You see, I can't help but think she's terribly bougie. But what's worth contemplating here is whether bougie is going to follow the same evolutionary path as snob. Will it take on new meanings and connotations in the years to come? Only time will tell. It seems that Harry and William's upbringing had a significant impact on their perspectives on family life. You see, William sought out a more normal family unit, understanding its importance, while Harry, on the other hand, seems to have become addicted to dysfunction. It's all about their differing experiences, my dear readers. And it's true, their childhood was far from conventional. They had parents who cheated on each other and even spoke ill about one another to the press and others. Such a family dynamic is far from what one would call normal, and their kids were exposed to this at a tender age, which could undoubtedly influence their future relationships. Now, there's an interesting observation. Why does Meghan get all the blame for a seemingly disrespectful Harry? After all, he's a grown man making his own choices when it comes to his family. Let's not forget that Harry had been making questionable decisions long before Meghan came into the picture. We've seen him dressing as a Nazi, uttering racist and xenophobic remarks, and even getting into altercations with photographers while under the influence. It seems a few jabs at his family don't seem that out of character for him. If someone insinuates that William and Harry weren't loved by their parents and extended family just because they grew up in the royal family and not a so-called normal family unit, well, they're quite mistaken. Yes, they were in the public eye from day one, but apart from that, their upbringing was indeed quite similar to others in their social circle. Nannies, boarding schools, ski holidays, and vacations in exotic locales were all part of their experience. Now, let's talk about Charles and Diana. It's true, they weren't the first or the last couple to have their issues in the public eye. Adultery has been prevalent throughout history across all sectors and classes of society. It's not meant to excuse Harry's faults, but it's essential to put things in perspective. And speaking of Harry, it seems that his disrespectful attitude towards his family came to light only after he met a certain someone. The grasping social climbing tramp, as some might say. She, Meghan, had a reputation for being disrespectful to her own family and stepping on anyone who got in her way to achieve what she believed was her due: worldwide adulation. Now, let's talk about the term bougie. William and Catherine aren't bougies, but Meghan, well, she fits the bill. The very use of the American expression bougie seemingly points to Meghan as the source of this article, and the disdainful attitude, the whole "you're so obsessed with Catherine's family, Willie," It doesn't sound like Harry at all. It appears to be another poisonous spew from Meghan the isolator getting into Harry's ear over time and sowing seeds of negativity towards William and Catherine. It seems that the term bougie, as used here, is a very American influence, quite Meghan-inspired, I must say. You see, in more classic English usage, bougie, as short for the bourgeoisie, would imply that William and Catherine, being royals above the bourgeoisie, are slumming it with the Middletons. It's something that Harry and Meghan might not want to showcase. Now, it appears that this article is attempting to portray William and Catherine as snobbish from Harry's point of view. But let's not forget, Harry himself carries a sense of entitlement, and Meghan's need to be referred to as Duchess is quite telling. It's all about perceptions and the dynamics within the royal family. Let's talk about the regal aspects of Harry's family. They have the crown jewels, and they celebrate the trooping of the color because an ancestor wanted to celebrate their birthday with nice weather. Quite the royal traditions. Now Meghan, the woman Harry chose, has a particular taste when it comes to interior decorating, taking tips from none other than Kim Kardashian, with everything in white and beige. She's known for wearing stacks of bracelets even during a hike, which often turns out to be an orchestrated photo op. And let's not forget her fondness for wearing Saudi diamonds, splurging on expensive dog leashes, and sporting pricey luxury brand dresses only to never wear them again. It appears that many of their friends' parents had busy lives, similar to Charles's, and some probably spent even less quality family time than William and Harry did with their father. And let's talk about the term bougie, an American expression, not something Harry would be familiar with, but oh boy, the bougie bitch he married, she sure would be. Now, this term apparently describes her to a T, and Harry, well, he was raised to respect his family and country. But his current behavior doesn't seem like a reflection of his upbringing. It seems to be a reflection of the disrespectful way his wife treats both her family and his family. Loyalty and respect are virtues that Harry and his Instagram-loving bitch wife, as the article puts it, don't seem to understand or prioritize. They seemingly threw the people who loved and cared for them under the bus in pursuit of adoration from strangers. But now, those very strangers have turned on them. As for that cozy country bumpkin life and the love of family, it surely feels warm and cozy to William, Kate, and the kids. But something Harry may never experience due to his history of disloyalty and contempt toward the people who trusted him. The article suggests that nobody who truly loves their family would bring that wolf, as they say, into their fold. It seems that Harry finds himself on a lonely island now. What do you think about Harry's short-sighted way of thinking about the bougie family unit? Let us know your thoughts below in the comments section. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.